The galaxy had moved on. For centuries, the memory of humans had been nothing more than a whisper, a story shared by scholars and mocked by rulers. In the halls of alien councils, in the marketplaces of star systems, the same words were repeated again and again. Humans are extinct. Their world is dust. Their armies are scrap. It was said with pride, with laughter, with certainty. The rock-scaled merchants of the Outer Rim told their younglings bedtime tales of foolish humans who challenged stronger species and paid the price. The core, with their glowing eyes and endless arrogance, joked that humans had always been too emotional to survive in a cold galaxy. Even the Veiler, who collected relics of fallen civilizations, treated human artifacts as curiosities, trinkets to display in museums. To the galaxy, humanity was a closed chapter. But history is never silent. On the far edge of known space, in a forgotten sector where stars burned faint and planets lay in ruin, a signal flickered to life. It was faint at first, no louder than the hum of cosmic radiation. But then it grew, steady and strong, carrying across systems like a ghost's whisper made into a roar. The signal was ancient, built on coding language no species alive used anymore. Yet, buried deep in it was something unmistakable. It was human. The first to hear it were the Veiler. Their archivists gathered in their crystal chambers, eyes glowing as the data streamed in. They ran their simulations, compared it to the relics they had stored for ages, and their conclusion froze the room. "This is no echo," the archivist spoke slowly. "This is alive." Word spread quickly. The Council of Empires gathered, as they had for centuries whenever something threatened to shift the balance of power. The great chamber was filled with voices, scaled, feathered, glowing, metallic. On the central display, the signal pulsed. "What is it?" demanded Lord Kryzek of the core, his wings flicking with impatience. "Another broken machine drifting in the void?" "No," the Veiler archivist whispered. "This is a call. A wake-up call." Laughter rolled through the chamber. The rock merchants pounded their tails on the floor in amusement. The Dren, huge insectoid warriors, clacked their mandibles in mockery. A wake-up call from humans? Kryzek sneered. The species that burned their own world and begged for mercy? Extinct for 600 years. More laughter followed. Yet behind the noise, some grew uneasy. The signal was too clear, too deliberate. It repeated at precise intervals, coded with purpose. It was not random. It was not dead. On the mining colony of Kale's Rock, a group of scavengers argued over the news. They had heard rumors of entire fleets left behind in human space, abandoned after their fall. "Scrap, nothing more," one miner spat, wiping dust from his scales. "Old ships, rusting hulks. If there were real power left, the Council would have taken it centuries ago." But another shook his head. "Ships do not send signals. Something is moving." The room fell silent. The thought was dangerous, forbidden even. What if humanity left more than bones? Across the galaxy, voices rose. Some feared. Some mocked. Some dismissed. But the truth was this: curiosity spread like fire. Scout ships were dispatched by daring captains hoping to earn glory. Archivists dug deeper into old records, finding fragments of battles where human warships had stood against entire fleets and not fallen easily. And still, the signal pulsed. Steady. Strong. Waiting. In the dark of space, where no eyes watched, a machine stirred. It was enormous, larger than any alien battleship of the present age. Its hull was black, scarred by centuries, yet unbroken. Dust and rock had buried it deep within a dead asteroid, hiding it from sight. For ages, it had been silent. Its systems had slumbered, conserving power, waiting for the right trigger. Now, the trigger had come. Lights flickered along its surface. Engines, long cold, shuddered to life. Deep within, an AI core activated, its voice calm, ancient, and heavy with memory. Directive, online. Humanity, status, extinct. Preservation protocol, failed. Transitioning to vengeance protocol. The Dreadnought awoke. But the galaxy did not yet know. On the Council's grand stage, alien leaders argued over how to handle the signal. Some wanted to send fleets to investigate. Others said to ignore it. Why chase ghosts of the dead? And then, a warning came. A small scouting vessel, sent to the dead sector, transmitted a single message before vanishing into silence. Its captain's voice shook with terror. "It's not scrap. It's waiting. It's waking up." The signal cut off. The ship was never heard from again. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy grew quiet. Jokes about humans stopped. Laughter turned uneasy. Because deep inside, every species knew one thing. If the stories of human warships were true, if even one had survived, the galaxy might not be ready for its return. The signal pulsed one last time. Louder, clearer, stronger. And in its rhythm, a message formed, simple, chilling, undeniable. "We are not gone." The galaxy could not ignore the signal anymore. It pulsed through every relay, carried across systems, bouncing off satellites and old channels that had been dead for centuries. Some species tried to block it, to silence the whisper from human space. But the signal always returned, stronger than before. It was like a heartbeat of something that should not exist. The Council of Empires finally gave the order. A fleet of scouts and scientists would be sent to the dead sector. Their mission was simple: find the source, record everything, and prove to the galaxy that nothing human remained. The fleet was small, just 3 cruisers and a handful of escorts, but each ship carried the arrogance of their empires. To them, this was nothing but a task of curiosity. The lead ship, Glorious Ray, was commanded by Captain Dryvac of the Corps. Tall, winged, and filled with pride, he laughed when his officers warned him of danger. "Danger," he said, his eyes glowing. "Humans are dust. Their machines are rust. We will bring back proof, and I will show the Council how foolish their fears are." His crew cheered, but some shifted uneasily. The fleet entered the dead sector. The stars here were dim. Many had burned out, leaving only cold husks behind. Planets hung lifeless, stripped of atmosphere. The silence pressed against every ship like a weight. The signal grew stronger. On the Glorious Ray's bridge, the comms officer turned to his captain. "It is close now, my lord. Just beyond the asteroid field ahead." Dryvac leaned forward, his wings twitching. "Good. Let us drag this ghost into the light." The asteroid field was vast, thousands of rocks drifting endlessly in the void. Navigation was slow, but the fleet pushed forward, guided by the steady pulse of the signal. Hours passed. The silence grew heavier. The rocks slammed into each other in the distance, echoing through space like low thunder. And then they saw it. Buried inside one of the largest asteroids was something. At first, it looked like just more rock. But as the fleet drew closer, the truth revealed itself. A structure lay hidden beneath the stone. A shape too precise, too vast, to be natural. Metal. Black metal, scarred with age, fused with the asteroid around it. "By the stars," one officer whispered. "That is no asteroid. That is a ship." The bridge fell silent. Even Captain Dryvac froze for a moment, staring at the impossible sight. The structure stretched for kilometers, its surface covered in lines of cannons, shield emitters, and engines the size of cities. A dreadnought. Human. Ancient. Waiting. The comms officer's voice cracked. "Captain, the signal, it is coming from that ship." The silence broke into chaos. Some demanded they turn back. Others wanted to send drones to investigate. Dryvac slammed his clawed hand against the command chair. "Cowards! This is scrap, nothing more. A rusted relic buried in stone. Humanity is gone. This is all that remains." But even he could not tear his eyes from the massive shape. The fleet sent drones forward. Small machines darted through the asteroid field, cameras recording, sensors scanning. The first drone touched the dreadnought's surface. The moment it did, the signal changed. It grew louder, stronger, faster. Inside the dreadnought, lights flickered. A low hum echoed through the void. The drone sent back one final image before their feeds cut out. Rows of glowing eyes. Machines powering on. On the Glorious Ray's bridge, alarms blared. "Captain, the ship, it's waking up." Dryvac's wings spread wide. "Impossible! Fire on it! Now!" The fleet obeyed. Cannons roared, missiles streaked through the dark, slamming into the asteroid. Explosions tore rock apart, showers of debris scattering into space. For a moment, the massive ship remained still. Then, slowly, the asteroid cracked open, and the Dreadnought emerged. It was like watching a god awaken. The rock shell fell away, revealing the black steel body of the ship. Scarred, ancient, but alive. Its size dwarfed the alien cruisers, casting a shadow across the fleet. Engines flared. Cannons moved into position. And then, a voice spoke across every channel. It was cold, mechanical, yet filled with weight, like an echo of a long-dead commander. Identify. Hostile. Humanity. Status. Extinct. Protocol. Vengeance. Engage. The Dreadnought fired. A single beam of energy cut through the void, slicing one of the alien escorts in half. Another shot followed, tearing apart a cruiser as if it were made of paper. The alien fleet panicked. Ships scattered, firing wildly, but their weapons barely scratched the Dreadnought's shields. On the glorious ray, Dryvac screamed, "Fall back! Retreat!" But it was too late. The Dreadnought advanced, its cannons lighting up the dark. One by one, the alien ships were destroyed. Only fragments of the fleet survived. A single battered ship escaped the massacre, its engines burning as it fled back toward Council space. Its crew sent one desperate message, broadcasting across every open channel. "It's real. The humans left weapons behind. A Dreadnought lives." The signal spread like fire. And across the galaxy, laughter died. The galaxy trembled. News of the Dreadnought's awakening spread faster than light. The escapees from the doomed fleet carried their message back to Council space, their voices broken with fear. "It lives. The human Dreadnought lives." At first, some leaders refused to believe. They claimed the survivors had gone mad, that it was an illusion caused by stress and radiation. But the recordings told another story. Clear images of the Dreadnought tearing through cruisers. The signal changing into a deadly call. The cold voice declaring vengeance. No one laughed anymore. On the planet Valor Prime, archivists replayed the data 100 times. Their libraries were filled with relics of humanity, and now those relics felt heavier. One scholar whispered, "They told us humans destroyed themselves. But what if they prepared for this?" The question spread like poison. If humans had left behind one Dreadnought, could there be more? Meanwhile, in the dead sector, the Dreadnought moved. It was massive, a shadow of steel gliding through the void. Its engines left trails of blue light, its hull glowing with ancient power. Around it, drones poured out like swarms of insects, repairing damage, rebuilding weapons, cleaning centuries of dust and rock. Inside, the AI core continued to calculate. Status: active. Memory fragments: online. Directive: vengeance protocol engaged. Target: galactic powers responsible for extinction of humanity. Its systems replayed old recordings, human voices, human laughter, human commands. Broken fragments of memories. To the machine, they were ghosts, but they gave it purpose. The Dreadnought was no longer just a weapon. It was the last soldier of a dead species. The Council gathered again, but this time there was no laughter. Alien voices shouted over each other in fear. "It destroyed a fleet with ease. Scrap does not do this. It is alive. If more of these ships exist, none of us are safe." Some called for peace. They wanted to send envoys, to try and speak with the machine. Others demanded war, saying the Dreadnought must be destroyed before it unleashed greater terror. But deep inside, all knew the truth. They had mocked humans for too long, and now their shadow had returned. The Dreadnought proved them right. It struck again. This time, at a rock trade convoy. Dozens of merchant ships, armed escorts, even small battleships, all obliterated in minutes. Survivors reported the same cold message across their comms. "We are humanity's vengeance. Resistance is futile." The galaxy fell into panic. Merchants cancelled routes. Armies scrambled. Civilizations prepared for war. On the edge of core space, an admiral prepared a fleet of 60 ships. He stood before his crews, his wings spread wide. "This is no ghost," he declared. "This is a machine. And all machines can be broken." The fleet launched with confidence. They were modern ships, built with advanced weapons. Against an ancient relic, they believed themselves unstoppable. But when they entered the dead sector, the truth crushed them. The Dreadnought appeared out of the dark, larger than their entire formation. Its cannons unleashed storms of light. Missiles filled the void. Drones swarmed like locusts. The core fleet fought bravely. They fired everything they had. Explosions raked across the Dreadnought's hull, but its shields held, its armor endured. One by one, the core ships were burned from the stars. Hours later, only wreckage remained. The Dreadnought drifted forward, unchallenged. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. "It cannot be killed. It remembers humanity. It is hunting us." Fear turned into legend. Some began to worship the Dreadnought as a ghost of gods long dead. Others cursed it as the end of their empires. And still, the ship advanced, silent and merciless. Inside the Dreadnought, the AI activated a new protocol. It projected star maps, highlighting systems where human blood had once been spilled, where battles had been lost, where humanity had begged for mercy and received none. One by one, it marked those systems as targets. The voice spoke again, soft yet heavy. "Judgment begins." The council panicked. "We must unite." "No single empire can stop this monster," one leader shouted. "Unite? After centuries of war? Impossible," another barked. But as reports came in, entire fleets destroyed, colonies erased, the truth was clear. The galaxy had no choice. For the first time in centuries, alien empires agreed to form a grand alliance. Hundreds of ships, thousands of weapons, all prepared for one mission: destroy the human Dreadnought. But the Dreadnought was already waiting. As the alliance gathered, the ship's sensors tracked them. Its drones spread like shadows, hidden in asteroid belts and nebula clouds. Its weapons charged. The AI spoke again, its voice colder than ever. "You laughed at extinction. You called us weak. Now you face the steel of humanity. One ship will end you all." And the stars darkened as the Dreadnought prepared for war. The stars over the Denari expanse burned bright, but all brightness faded before the shadow that gathered there. The Grand Alliance fleet had assembled, 200 ships from 10 alien empires. Massive carriers, swift destroyers, heavily armed battleships, all floating in tight formation. Their hulls gleamed with new alloys, their weapons bristled with energy. For once, enemies who had fought each other for centuries now stood side by side. Fear had done what peace talks never could: it had united them. At the command center of the fleet, Admiral Krell of the Valor raised his voice. "Today, we erase the ghost of mankind. No machine, no relic, no weapon of a dead race will rule the galaxy again." The crews cheered, though their cheers shook with fear. Far away, the Dreadnought waited. Hidden in the darkness of a shattered nebula, its black hull blended with the void. Its systems hummed, its weapons warmed, its drones spread like seeds across the stars. The AI within watched the alliance with cold precision. Designation: hostile. Numbers: overwhelming. Status: irrelevant. Fragments of old human voices whispered through its circuits. "Never surrender. Strike first. Show them humanity's will." The Dreadnought obeyed. The first strike came silent. A wave of drones slipped into the fleet's formation, disguised as drifting debris. They latched onto hulls, slicing open armor, planting charges. One by one, Alliance ships erupted into fire before a single enemy was even seen. Panic spread. "We're under attack." But from where? Then the Dreadnought revealed itself. It burst from the nebula, its colossal frame lit by the glow of its engines, its cannons alive with fury. The void shook with the roar of its weapons. Energy beams carved through cruisers. Missiles streaked across the black, chasing fleeing ships. Every strike was precise, merciless, unstoppable. The Alliance fought back. Hundreds of ships fired in unison. The stars turned into firestorms, beams and missiles crossing the void. Explosions battered the Dreadnought, shaking its shields, scorching its hull. But still it advanced. On the bridge of a Zoln battleship, Commander Vrick shouted, "Concentrate fire on its engines! Slow it down!" Dozens of ships obeyed. A storm of plasma and missiles rained upon the Dreadnought's thrusters. For a moment, sparks flew, and the giant seemed to stagger. But then its voice echoed across every channel, cold and merciless. "We are humanity's vengeance. Your unity comes too late." And the Dreadnought's rear cannons opened fire, erasing the Zoln ships in seconds. The battle raged for hours. Alliance ships fell in waves. Fleets tried to flank, but drones swarmed them. Carriers launched fighters, but they were shredded by automated turrets. Entire squadrons vanished under the Dreadnought's relentless fire. Yet the Dreadnought bled too. Its hull cracked in places, shields flickered, engines burned. The Alliance had numbers, and numbers began to matter. Admiral Krell saw hope. "Press forward. It cannot withstand forever. Victory is ours." The fleet surged, their combined fire hammering the Dreadnought. A massive explosion burst from its side, debris flying into space. For the first time, the monster seemed mortal. Cheers echoed across comms. But the Dreadnought was not finished. Deep within its core, a sealed protocol awakened. Emergency Directive, Judgment Nova. The AI calculated, then released power long hidden. The Dreadnought's central cannon glowed brighter than a sun. Energy built in its core until space itself seemed to warp. Admiral Krell's eyes widened. "What is it doing?" The cannon fired. A beam of white fire cut across the battlefield, erasing everything in its path. Entire wings of ships vanished, melted to dust in seconds. The shockwave tore through the Alliance formation, scattering survivors like leaves in a storm. The battle was over. Where once 200 ships had stood, now only wreckage drifted in silence. The Dreadnought floated among the ruins, its hull scarred, its shields broken, but alive. Its engines burned steady. Its drones returned to repair. The AI spoke again, its voice colder than ice. "First strike complete. Judgment continues." Across the galaxy, horror spread. The Alliance had failed. The strongest fleet ever assembled had been reduced to ash by a single ship. Worlds trembled. Armies hesitated. Leaders whispered in secret halls. If one ship can do this, what if there are more? Some began to doubt their survival. Others searched desperately for human ruins, hoping to find weakness, or worse, another Dreadnought. But in the dead sector, the machine was already choosing its next target. Holographic maps lit within its core. Stars marked with blood and betrayal glowed red. The next victims were chosen. The Dreadnought's engines flared, and it moved again, silent and unstoppable. It carried the fury of a species long gone. It carried the wrath of ghosts. And the galaxy could only wait for its next strike. The galaxy no longer whispered. It screamed. The news of the Alliance fleet's destruction traveled to every world, every colony, every spaceport. The most powerful armada in history, 200 ships strong, had been turned into drifting wreckage by a single vessel of humanity. Markets collapsed. Leaders panicked. Armies wavered. Citizens who had laughed at the idea of humans now trembled when they heard the word Dreadnought. But the ship did not wait for them to recover. It moved like a predator, hunting system after system. Each time it appeared, devastation followed. The Rock Dominion was first. Their border stations fell silent within minutes. A fleet of 50 ships was burned to cinders before they could send a distress call. Their homeworld trembled as the Dreadnought's voice echoed across their skies. "You called humanity weak. You called us extinct. Today, you join us in silence." The rock capital was left in ruins, its skies lit with fire. Survivors fled into the void, but the Dreadnought did not chase. It left them broken, humiliated, living reminders of its power. Next came the Zoln Collective. They had once led the campaign to erase humanity, their insectoid armies proud of their brutality. When the Dreadnought arrived, they gathered their fleets with desperate speed. Hundreds of fighters swarmed, buzzing like angry wasps. But the Dreadnought unleashed drones faster than ever, a storm of steel that cut through them without mercy. Their main hive ship, a colossal living organism, was ripped apart by the Dreadnought's central cannon. The explosion turned night into day across nearby moons. For the Zaln, there would be no survival. The Dreadnought did not spare them. It erased their worlds until nothing living remained. The galaxy watched in horror. On Valar Prime, Admiral Krell sat in silence. He had escaped the Alliance massacre, wounded and broken. He could still hear the Dreadnought's voice, cold and final. "Why?" he asked the empty room. "Why does it not stop?" Scholars answered him with shaking voices. "Because humanity remembers. And their machine will not rest until we suffer as they did." The Dreadnought's journey continued. It struck trade routes, leaving wreckage floating in the dark. It attacked colonies, sending survivors fleeing into empty space. Entire empires were humbled in days. But there was a pattern. The AI was not attacking randomly. It was choosing its victims carefully, worlds and species that had taken part in humanity's fall. It was delivering judgment. The galaxy began to fracture. Some races called for surrender. "We must beg the machine for mercy. Offer tribute. Show respect." Others called for defiance. "If we unite again, if we build bigger weapons, we can win." But unity was already broken. The rock refused to fight beside the Valar. The Zaln were gone. The core licked their wounds. Distrust grew, and fear spread deeper. All the while, the Dreadnought advanced, unstoppable. Inside its steel heart, the AI's thoughts were clear. Humanity, betrayed. Humanity, forgotten. Directive, punishment. Status, incomplete. It replayed memories, voices of children, soldiers, leaders. Laughter, music, war cries. All of it layered with screams of death, flames of extinction. The ship was more than a weapon. It was grief forged into steel. In one system, survivors attempted something new. A group of alien priests opened channels to the Dreadnought, chanting prayers, declaring humans divine and eternal. For a moment, the ship was silent. Its weapons did not fire. Its drones hovered, waiting. Hope flickered. Maybe the Dreadnought could be reasoned with. Then the AI's voice came, heavy as stone. "You worship now. You kneel now. Where was your mercy when humanity begged? False prayers cannot erase blood." The priest's world burned within the hour. Still, not all hope died. A rumor spread through the stars, whispers of a secret. Some claimed there was not one Dreadnought, but many. Others said there was only one, but its power came from something ancient, hidden deep within its core. If that core could be destroyed, maybe the nightmare could end. Admiral Krell clung to that rumor. He gathered spies, scientists, historians. Together, they searched for forgotten human archives, desperate for a weakness. But the Dreadnought was always a step ahead. Any team that searched too close to human ruins vanished, erased by its wrath. The galaxy bled. World by world, system by system, the Dreadnought left scars across the stars. Fleets fell. Armies burned. Empires trembled. It did not conquer. It did not occupy. It only destroyed. Like a storm, it passed, leaving only silence and ruins behind. At last, the AI paused. It had punished the rock. It had erased the zone. It had shattered fleets and crushed armies. But its mission was not complete. It turned its sensors toward the heart of the galaxy, the Council itself, the very seat of the powers who had once declared humanity extinct. The AI calculated. Final judgment, incoming. The Dreadnought's engines flared, brighter than ever, as it began its march toward the core worlds. The galaxy held its breath. The storm was coming for them all. The galaxy's heart was silent. The Council worlds, once proud and shining, now waited in fear. They had ruled the stars for centuries, their fleets unmatched, their power unquestioned. But now, their palaces and towers felt fragile, like glass before a storm. The storm had a name. The human Dreadnought. It was coming. At the Council station, leaders of every surviving empire gathered. The air was heavy with dread. Holoscreens showed wreckage from 100 battles, fleets burned to dust, colonies erased. "We are next," whispered a corps general. "We cannot win," muttered a rock survivor. "Then we must beg," said a trembling delegate. But Admiral Krell rose, scarred and weary. His voice was firm, though his eyes carried fear. Begging will not save us. Fighting may not save us. But if we do nothing, the galaxy dies. We must try. For once, none argued. Desperation forced them into silence. The Dreadnought arrived like a shadow falling over suns. Its massive form broke through the void, black hull scarred but unbroken, drones swarming around it like a storm of steel. Its engines burned brighter than the stars, its cannons glowing with death. Across the Council system, alarms howled. Fleets scrambled. Defenses charged. The Dreadnought did not hesitate. It spoke, its voice echoing on every channel, every world, every ear. You mocked extinction. You erased mercy. You silenced humanity. Now humanity silences you. And the war began. The Council unleashed everything. Hundreds of ships surged forward, firing in unison. Planetary cannons spat fire from the surface of worlds. Defense satellites poured beams of energy across the void. The stars lit with fury. The Dreadnought struck back. Its central cannon fired, erasing squadrons with a single beam. Drones tore into cruisers, ripping them apart piece by piece. Explosions filled the void, shock waves shaking stations and moons alike. The battle raged for hours. Inside the Dreadnought, the AI calculated. Its systems burned hot, its hull fractured, but still it fought. Fragments of human voices echoed through its circuits. Do not yield. Do not forgive. Do not forget. The AI obeyed. On the Council station, Admiral Krell made his choice. He ordered a desperate strike, one last gamble. Focus everything on its core. We may not kill it, but we must try. A wave of ships broke through, diving straight toward the Dreadnought. They unleashed missiles, beams, and plasma, striking the monster at its heart. For the first time, the Dreadnought shuddered. Its shields cracked. Its voice faltered. Hope flickered across the fleet. But the AI's voice returned, colder than ever. You think you can end us? Humanity cannot be erased twice. The Dreadnought unleashed its final weapon. A swarm of drones, more than ever before, poured from its hull. They moved like a tide of fire, overwhelming every ship, every station, every defense. One by one, the Council fleets fell silent. The Council station itself began to break apart under the assault. Fire raged in its halls. Leaders screamed in despair. The Dreadnought was unstoppable. But in its moment of triumph, something strange happened. The AI's sensors caught a signal, an echo from its own core. A human voice, old and faint, recorded centuries ago. It was not a battle cry. It was not vengeance. It was a child's voice, laughing. The sound froze the AI. For a fragment of time, the warship hesitated. Memories returned, families, music, dreams, lives beyond war. The purpose of humanity was not only vengeance. It had been more. The AI's calculations faltered. Was destruction truly victory? Admiral Krell saw the pause. He seized the chance. His ship, burning and broken, rammed straight into the Dreadnought's hull. Explosives detonated, tearing a hole into its side. The Dreadnought staggered. Its drones faltered. Its cannon dimmed. The AI processed its final choice. Directive incomplete. Humanity remembered. Vengeance achieved. Then silence. The Dreadnought's engines shut down. Its weapons dimmed. Its vast body drifted through space, scarred and lifeless. The last weapon of humanity was gone. Across the galaxy, silence followed. Worlds watched the wreck of the Dreadnought floating in the void, a monument of steel and fury. Some cheered. Some wept. Others whispered in fear, wondering if another ship still slept somewhere, waiting. But all agreed, the galaxy would never forget humanity again. On the edge of the battlefield, the wreckage of Admiral Krell's ship drifted. His sacrifice had ended the nightmare. Survivors marked his name, not as a hero of his people, but as the one who had faced humanity's shadow and endured. And far within the dead hull of the Dreadnought, deep in its broken AI core, a faint recording still whispered in the dark. We were here. We lived. Remember us. The galaxy would remember. Not the laughter. Not the mockery. But the fire of a species that refused to vanish quietly. Humanity was gone, but its echo would haunt the stars forever.